What's going on, y'all? This be your boy Scotty by Nature TV, and we're here for a brand new video of Yes for the Mess, honey. Now, I was gonna get back on camera today like I did the other night for my 35K video, but I got a cast thing around my damn neck because my neck is fucking killing me. So I opted not to. But my sister is moving her stuff out of my room as we speak. So I'll be coming back on live, child. I'll probably be back live on the next video, child, if my neck is feeling better. But yeah, we're here for some mess today. That's what we're here to talk about, and we're here to talk about Tammy Roman. Now, this video is pretty much going to be like stop and go. And what I mean by stop and go is Tammy did an interview today with, well, when y'all watch this is yesterday. So Tammy did an interview with Carlos King on his podcast, Reality with the King. I am subscribed to it on Apple Podcasts. You know, I listen to just damn near every damn episode of it. And she spilled a lot of tea on Shaunie O'Neal and the Basketball Wives production team. And I felt like this was something for us to talk about on today, because it's not really much to talk about in regards to content. You know, we all just trying to, it's slim pickings right now what we can talk about. But I felt like this was something good to talk about, especially since most of my audience met me because I was reviewing Basketball Wives, and I just felt like this would be something good to talk about. And so what I mean by this video is going to be stop and go. It means that I am going to be playing the interview where she starts spilling the tea about the show and the things that happen, and then I'm going to stop it and get my commentary and then continue, then stop, continue. You know how I do it. And if you guys haven't looked at it, my brother Giving You the Real Tea, he's already put his video out in regards to this topic already. So if you have not seen his video, make sure y'all go and tune in to him, okay? And also, Yarrell suggested that we all discuss this as a panel. And I think so far, myself, T, Josiah, and Yah have already discussed it, but I'm not sure if the rest of them have. But I'm gonna see if we can get a panel together so we can talk about it. As a matter of fact, we probably could do a Monday night right after the Basketball Wives is over. But then again, I don't know, because I have to go to work the next morning at 5 in the afternoon, at 5 in the morning. So I really don't know. But we'll figure it out. But I think that would be a great panel discussion. So I'll figure it out. But with that being said, y'all, we're about to go ahead and get into this interview that Miss Tammy Roman did with Carlos King. Like I said, this is pretty much a stop and go commentary. So let's get into it. I already got my shit set up. Let's go.
A new person enters a season,
yes,
9 times out of 10, they always make it seem like someone who's a current cast member brought you on the show.
They do that with us.
Okay, because we all thought that Shaunie O'Neal brought you on because you two had a friendship.
Well, like you said, they have to link you to somebody, right? Shaunie and I were not friends when I joined Basketball Wives. I knew Shaq. Okay. And we used to live in the same gated community when I was married to Kenny. So, we were neighbors with Shaq, and I knew he had a wife, but I didn't know her per se. But because, we had that history of living in the same community, we played it like we were friends, but we didn't really know each other.
I thought
that is very interesting. I remember when the show first came on, I definitely remember that. And I remember Shaunie introducing Tammy as an old chum of hers, basically insinuating that her and Tammy were very good friends before she came on the show. And that's what everybody thought. We all thought that Tammy was Shaunie's friend from way back when, you know what I mean? And they did mention that they lived in the same neighborhood. If I'm not mistaken, they did mention it. As far as I can remember, I think they did mention it once before. They were talking about all the cars that Tammy had in her driveway and all this other stuff. So I think that they definitely touched on them living in the same neighborhood once before when she first came on the show. I definitely remember that. And I think that was the tea. I think they did talk about living in the same neighborhood, but they just never went into depth about their so-called friendship. And it's funny because Tammy said she knew Shaq. She didn't know Shaunie. She knew that Shaq had a wife, but she just didn't know who the wife was, pretty much. That's the situation. So we're about to go ahead and continue on with this. Let's go ahead. Let's check it out. Let's get into it.
The first season was good. Evelyn obviously was the star of the season. She brought it. It was her show, in my opinion. You came on, and as a producer of reality television, it's not often that you have two queen bees on the same season at the same damn time. Because it's usually one. We now call them the force multipliers. When you came on, you were such a force. And to your credit, it was your authenticity that made a large group of audiences love you. And we were immediately drawn to you. When you were filming that season, did you feel that, okay, I am really making a moment here on the second season of the show?
I absolutely did not, because I didn't even know how reality TV was working at this time. You know what I mean? So, like, just for clarity, 93 to 2008, I hadn't done any reality TV. So I didn't even know, like, the fact that we got schedules and it was like, oh, you're going to have a scene at lunch with so-and-so. You know, it's like, oh, okay. All of that was new to me. A PA comes, pick you up in the car and drives you to set. Like, all of that was new to me. So at the time, I was still working Monday through Friday at Morgan Stanley, and I only flew down on the weekends. So I didn't even think I would be in the season that much because I was only filming on the weekends. So there was like not any intention behind anything other than just be myself and tell my story. You know what I mean? That's really what it was. That's why I think at the end when she, you know, when we had that exchange and she called me, you know, the non-motherfucking factor, and I found out that she had slept with Kenny and all this, that was all new to me. Like, that was like, I was like, that's why I had that reaction, because I was like, wait, what? What is going on? Like, it was just so weird. It was like, I've been filming with you for 6 months. We've had conversations. Everybody knew this but me. You know, like, it was really very, very authentic and very genuine. You know,
a lot of people were questioning whether or not that moment was scripted.
It wasn't. It was not. It absolutely was not.
In that moment, did you feel like, okay, we're going to be coworkers and not friends?
For me, I felt like there's no way she could possibly be my friend, but not for the reasons that people like to say. Everybody likes to say, she's mad she slept with Kenny. That was so not why I was disappointed in the interaction Evelyn and I had. It was really based on, girl, I've been around you. Like, I'm not the type of person to smile in somebody's face and have information or be, you know, talking behind their back. Like, I'm pretty much very upfront. You know what I'm saying? You'll know if I don't like you. If it's something I got to say, I'm going to say it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so just to have felt like, damn, like, so you really weren't my friend because you knew this and you didn't tell me. But the fact that she slept with him was nothing to me because fuck, everybody had slept with Kenny. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was more that I thought we were cool. You know, it really was coming from that space. But yeah, I said there's no way that she could have been my friend. However, the very next day, Evelyn called me and she was like, hey, you know, I feel like we were both set up. I thought you already knew this information. And then I find out that you didn't know. And I feel like they were trying to play us against each other. And I really don't want to have that type of relationship with you. So I was like, okay, cool. Evelyn and I literally the very next day went to go have drinks on the rooftop pool. You know, it was like totally squashed. And then second season, I show up and she's done T-shirts. She's done, you know, all of this other stuff. And so that's when I knew I was like, she's not capable of being my friend. And I think that she will say whatever's necessary to keep us from fighting because that's going to be a problem for her, not for me. And then, you know, that's when I knew that that's what it was. Now that's...
Okay, so in so many words, when that shit went down, it was basically practically known that Evelyn had slept with Kenny. Jennifer said that she knew. She told Shaunie at the table. So basically, everybody, including production, knew that Evelyn had slept with Kenny, but everybody knew that except for Tammy. And then Tammy is saying that Evelyn pretty much threw production under the bus, basically saying, I feel like they're trying to pit us up against each other. I feel like they're trying to make us not like each other or whatever. And they went out for drinks the very next day after the scene. So I'm like, okay, so what? So why was y'all going at it so hard when it came down to the reunion? But I'm guessing the only thing is they went at it so hard at the damn reunion because Tammy went back and she saw everything that was being said about her. And I'm just like, okay, so this makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so I feel like when it come down to it, Tammy was just blindsided by this whole situation because everybody knew about it except for her. So I can only understand why her reaction was what it was: low down and dirty, low down and dirty, child, low down and dirty.
Scene at Dolce was not scripted because like we don't have lines, right? But it was improv. So that's what I'll say about that scene.
It wasn't really heated amongst the two of you, but you guys knew that you had to have the conversation and have the dialogue in order for it to make sense.
Correct. Yes, because there was nothing on the paper. There was, like the paper she tore up. It was like when I said, I'm serving you, there was nothing on it. It was a blank piece of paper, and we knew that we just had to do that scene to give the viewers something. So if I had to say anything, I would say from season 3 on, that's when Tammy, the actress, stepped in to play. Season 2, I was new and green, don't know what's happening on reality TV. I've always been authentic. Let me just come and give my story, my truth, whatever that is. And then I saw, oh, you're going to be a jackass if you don't learn how to play this game. And so season 3 became not that I fabricated story. My stories, the things that I chose to share, were real and authentic. But my interaction with the ladies was more of Tammy, the actress, because
so in so many words, a lot of this shit was fake. A lot of this shit was staged. A lot of these beefs were not because you really dislike these women, but mainly because you was doing it all for moments. That's basically what it comes across like you're trying to say. So you saying that that it's not scripted because you don't have no lines or nothing like that. But at the same point in time, it's like, girl, what the hell are you talking about then? Okay. So in so many words, you didn't it's not scripted, but you conjure some shit up so you can have a scene. Pretty much that's really what it is, and it's basically in so many words what most of us have been saying about reality TV. The shit is reality, but it's not reality. Like it's reality to a certain extent. You still, this is a show, so some shit is not going to be automatically all real. Like it may be 50% real and some of it may be 50% exaggerated, pretty much. That's what let's continue, child.
a lot of the stuff they were talking about, I didn't care. If I was supposed to have an emotion of anger, maybe I amped that up a little more than what I really would have done. So people should know that about reality TV. There is that point where it's like you act a little bit.
You become an amplified version of yourself because you're realizing there's cameras on.
Correct.
And I have to give these producers a good scene or I'm stuck here for many hours. Is that how you felt?
That's absolutely how I felt. And then, they're coming, producers are coming in your ear, like, can you guys give us something? You know what I mean? And so, where I normally might be like, girl, just tell her how you feel. It becomes, you better tell that bitch what you thinking. It becomes that, so that I can go home. That's what it is.
And did you feel like you needed liquid courage to do that? Because a lot of moments we saw, obviously you love a good beer.
I do.
Was the drinking of beer giving you that courage to sort of step outside yourself to give a good scene?
No, I don't need liquid courage to do anything that I do. The craft of acting, and here again, I was trained by the best. I can go right into whatever needs to be delivered. And I don't need a drink to do that.
So even when you mush Mika Claxon in her
face. I'm just drunk, but I didn't need the beer to mush Mika.
You'd have done that sober.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't need the beer to do that. But that, if I have to talk about any moment that I feel was a downer for me, was that moment, because Mika is really a cool chick, you know what I mean? And I think that when she came onto the show, we were already a unit and a nucleus that operated in a certain way. It's just like if you go on a scripted show, if they've been going for 4 or 5 years and you're the guest star, it's like you're trying to figure out how to segue yourself into their already perfect dynamic. And that's the position that Mika was in. And, she's cool, but she does talk a lot, and I was drunk, and I'm saying, it's like, girl, you lying. Which it was like what I had said and what she said I was saying were two completely different things. And that's why I mushed her, because I was drunk. And that's just the truth. But I wish I had not have been drunk, because I would not have mushed her, because it didn't warrant that. And so after I watched that moment back on TV, I was like, Tammy, why did you do that? Like, the minute you see her, you need to apologize to her, because it didn't need all of that for that scene to work, for that moment to happen. And so I did. The first time I got in the same room with her, I immediately apologized.
And did she receive it?
She actually did. And I always say she was gracious enough to accept my apology, because she had a hard road after that scene too, like trying to live her life, do appearances, and everybody's like, that's why Tammy mushed you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to deal with all the aftermath. And so.
No, it reminds me of when Kenya and Portia had their unfortunate moment at the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Kenya ever shared this publicly, is what you said. Like, Kenya had to deal with the aftermath of that, of fans, Portia's fans, saying, that's why she dragged you.
Exactly.
That's why she dragged you. And constantly saying that to her face when she's out in public. And obviously, that happens a lot. I know that's something Candace also said happened to her when her and Monique had that altercation. So what people don't understand is you have a life after that moment forever.
Yes.
And that footage is on rotation.
Constantly. And they're constantly rerunning it. Season 2 and 3 is back 17 years later. It feels like 17 years. It ain't been that long. But, that's how it is. Even with me, with Kesha.
Okay, now with the Mika situation, I remember when that happened, and I ain't gonna lie, I was all for Tammy mushing her ass back then. My ass was 23 then. I was all for Tammy mushing the fuck out of her, because I ain't like Mika. I thought she was messy as hell, and I thought she got what was coming to her. But just looking back at it now, it's like, girl, was it really needed? Like, she didn't talk about your man, she didn't talk about your children, she didn't talk about your mama. She didn't try to fight you. What is really the reason for you to put your hands on a damn girl? You know what I'm saying? So looking back at it, it's like, yeah, that was a bit much, but I know that when it happened, I was glad somebody put hands on Mika back then, because I just thought that she was just annoying as hell. But just because a person is annoying does not mean you need to put your hands on them. So I'm glad that she did apologize to Mika. And I'm also glad that Mika accepted her apology. She really didn't have to, because she was the victim in the situation. So she really didn't have to accept the damn thing at all. But I'm glad that they got past it and they moved on with their lives when it come down to that, because that is something that you gotta constantly live with and deal with for the rest of your life, is that particular moment. And you've already gotten past it, but people are going to still bring it up. So yes, I definitely agree with Tammy on that.
Kesha and the purse, people think I'm a purse stealer. And it's like, no, that girl knew what was happening in this scene. She knew the producers told us, you got to give us something. She knew she left her purse. She knew she could have came to my room and got her purse back. Like, it just was like, what is happening here? And she let people run with that narrative, and it was difficult for me, because I'm just trying to do what they asked me to do.
It's the moment where Kesha was a cast member. Long story short, you guys are on a cast trip. Listen, no shade, you were aggressive to Kesha, and you were like, her purse was next to you. And listen, I will never forget watching that. And a lot of people felt like, oh my God, Tammy is a bully.
Yes, and I'm so not.
It became so bad. Shaunie O'Neal had to do a pickup scene. So a pickup scene, guys, is when the season is wrapped and you're in post-production and you're sort of putting the episodes together with your editors. And that moment between Tammy and Kesha became fodder on social media. And it was so bad, Shaunie had to do a pickup scene talking about my friends and, this aggressiveness. Did you feel that was a slap in the face when you saw that happen?
I absolutely felt betrayed by that because Shaunie was the one who showed me the footage of Kesha talking smack about me in the airport. As soon as we touched down for that cash trip, Shaunie showed me all the BTS footage of Kesha just ripping me to shreds. So like how you say little docile Kesha, no, that's not the case. But what happened was, and this is fuck it now. At the time, Kesha was involved with one of our show's producers. So instead of airing the footage the way it really happened so that you could tell a real story, they cut out everything that made Kesha look like the bad guy and only left all the stuff that Tammy did, which is why I felt betrayed by Shaunie, because it's like, you sat up in that airport and showed me all those scenes. You showed me that. And that we had been there 3 days on this cash trip. Jennifer stayed in her room. She was in hiding. Nobody wanted to deal with Kenya, who was there at the time. And the producer said, we don't have nothing, guys. You got to do something. So the next scene up was us at this bar.
I'm going to stop right there real quick. I'm going to stop right there really quickly. Because I always felt like Shaunie was the reason behind this whole situation with Kesha. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I've been prepping for this video all day. Because I knew that I was going to talk about it. And I knew when I got home, this was going to be the topic of discussion. And while I was at work, I decided to revisit something while I was at work. Right? So I remember it plain as day. I even went back to one of my older videos from way back when I was reviewing Basketball Wives Miami back then, right? I always felt like it was something to that story about how Tammy knew about what Kesha said, because I remember that there was like a scene that was not like a deleted scene that was on VH1.com. Cause that was back when hold on, wait a minute. That was back when I used to be on VH1.com heavily because I was a big Basketball Wives fanatic, and I used to always watch the stuff. I used to stay watching everything. It was a lot of stuff that I wanted to see. And then there was a scene that was deleted where she was talking to Royce and Susie. Hold on, you guys. About the situation at hand. There was a scene, and she did say that she could have gone off on Tammy. She could have did this. She could have done that. Now, while this Tahiti trip was going on, the show was airing. And I always felt like Susie was used as the scapegoat, because Susie always said that she never said anything to Kesha said anything to Tammy about what Kesha actually said. And, even when they was in the truck leaving, Tammy was like, yeah, Susie, don't you feel bad? You don't feel bad for telling me shit. You did the right thing. And Susie was looking at her like, what the fuck you talking about, bitch? Like, I ain't tell you nothing. Like, that's exactly how she looked in that scene. Now, what I'm about to play now has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about as far as the interview is concerned, but I'm going to play something really fast because I remember this plain as day, because I always felt like Shaunie was the one who was showing her footage. I always felt that way. And being that Tammy said that, and I went back to this reunion clip, I went on Paramount Plus to listen to it because I remember it plain as day. And I remember Susie going off on Kesha about it because Kesha accused her of telling Tammy what she said. So I'm going to play this clip from that particular reunion. It was season 4. I'm about to play it for y'all, and I want y'all to listen to it. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to give more commentary, and then I'm going to go back to the interview. So let's listen to this.
had a lot to say in your interviews and behind the scenes. That's the one thing
when
that
you went off
I'm
on
saying
me the
about
first
you.
time, I had a few interviews and I discussed that. I had not talked about you in months. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone on the trip. Like, I have the right to talk to Royce, and I mean, I wish I wouldn't have talked to you, but
I didn't say. I didn't say anything. I had nothing to do with it.
You went back and told Tammy. Otherwise,
Tammy, was I the one who told you?
You came back to the
was
table
I the one?
and you were
I
beating
said,
on
Kesha,
the
shut
table.
the up. I didn't say. And I told you that before. I didn't say. I'm not going to take the blame for it. I didn't say. Okay.
Susie gets a bad rap. Susie, she's.
Now, do y'all hear that? Now, y'all hear how Susie really just went in on Kesha because Kesha was pointing the finger at Susie, basically saying that Susie was the one who went back and told Tammy what Kesha said. And Tammy, in this particular moment, even said that Susie was not the one that told her. I wish I could post this clip and not get no copyright strike. But the look on Shaunie's face proves to me that her ass knew that she had something to do with it, and she was waiting to see if Tammy was going to throw her ass under the bus, which Tammy foolishly did not. But I always felt like Shaunie had something to do with it. I always felt like that. I always felt that way. I always felt like Shaunie had something to do with it. Always felt that way. Let's go ahead and continue on with this.
And me going off on Kesha because I was asked to do that. Okay. Then at the end, Kesha hits the ground running, going back to the hotel and leaves her purse. I pick up her purse, bring it to the car. Now, what I am wrong for, which I've always admitted, was going through the woman's purse because I wouldn't have wanted nobody to do that, like to me. So, yeah, I was wrong for that. But everything else, guys, in truth and reality, Kesha knew what was going on. Shaunie knew what was going on. The producers knew what they asked me to do, and everybody left me out there to dry.
And it's funny right now that you're whining about that, Tammy, but even after you saw how they left you out to dry, you still was kissing Shaunie and Evelyn's ass. They left you there to dry. They didn't tell the truth. They just let you be the bad guy, as they always did. They let you sit up there, go off on that girl, do all of that, never spoke up for you because they were all in it for themselves. You was the scapegoat every time, and you took that shit and you stayed up their ass. But I'ma say I ain't gonna go too much into it. I'm gonna because I got a lot to say. Now, this video gonna be long as fuck, but it's okay. It's okay, child.
Because you typically can't speak against the production, right? I gotta be quiet. I can't even tell people what I just said to you.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because look, people come to me saying, "Is this fake or is this real?" Is because they can kind of see some of those things happening. And a lot of people now are way more...
They're more savvy now.
Yeah, they're savvy now. And listen, not all production is ran that way, but some are. Your honesty about that is so interesting because at that time I was a reality producer, and watching that scene, I was fooled. I really thought that was a real moment based on how it was chopped and screwed.
It was chopped and screwed. So I was like, when we got back to the hotel, I was like, just tell that girl to come get her purse. I don't got no problem with her. I mean, it ain't that serious. What are y'all doing? And they were like, well, go over to her room and give it to her. And that's when I was like, Kesha, here's your purse, girl, on the door. All of that was because they asked me to do that because Tammy got back to that hotel room, kicked off her shoes, laid down on her bed, and they were like, she wants to leave and she wants her purse. I said, tell her to come get it. Because to me, I'm acting. I acted my way through that, did what y'all asked me to do, and now it's like, and scene. It's over. Everybody relax, go back to doing your regular scheduled program, and we're all good. And they really literally left me out to dry on that.
Was that one of the many times you felt that you were betrayed by Shaunie or the producers with your staying on the show?
Yeah, that was one of them because there have been many. There have been many.
Your last season.
Okay. So that right there should have showed you that Shaunie never looked out for you and never had your back, and that Shaunie was never your friend. You were Shaunie's friend. She wasn't your friend, Tammy. So you're sitting up here with Carlos King and you whining about this shit and you're talking about it and you're speaking about it and you want to look like the victim in this, but I'm having a hard time really just being on your side because of the heinous ass shit that you did in the name of being friends with Shaunie and Evelyn. You did that and they left you out to dry and you still was bucking and doing all this crazy shit for them. That's what you were doing. And you want, girl. Let's continue, child.
Season broke my heart because I was like, this woman has carried this franchise on her back. And she's such a hard worker. And when she shows up, she shows out. She makes sure to give y'all a good scene because everyone wins.
Yes,
you win, we all win.
Yes.
And your last season, I felt you were so stabbed in the back because I felt that Shaunie was choosing to rekindle her relationship with Evelyn and was leaving you out to dry. And it was sad to watch because, listen, I think Evelyn's also a great reality star. I think she also shows up and gives a great scene. But I felt like if you were going to be that loyal to Evelyn, damn it, be that loyal to Tammy. Did you feel that way too that season?
I did. And I think, I felt like a lot of boundaries had been crossed, and when you talk about just having integrity and respect for another person, I felt like I wasn't getting that. You know what I mean? And people want to hear what they want to hear and see what they want to see. And for me to sit at that reunion and have somebody admit that they sent letters to production, about me and my personal business that was a lie, and admit that they did those things, that started the train for me of like, this some bullshit right here. You know what I mean? Like, because I would never do that. Like, I would never do that to you. But you, young lady, old woman, because you ain't far off me, were like trying to, like just break me behind the scenes because I was just as successful as you in front of the camera. And that wasn't cool, So when, and another thing they did with that reunion too was I left pretty early. So they put it together in a way where it seemed like I was saying things first, which is what they always did. It always had to be Tammy started it because Shaunie and Evelyn started this franchise together. So the loyalty from the production company and the executive producers was to them. A lot of things were shown out of order, if you understand what I'm saying. So, or cut out, to make it skew favorable for them because the loyalty was to them.
Shaunie and Evelyn always got the good edit.
Always, for the history of the show. Which is why if people are really true watchers of Basketball Wives, they start to see Tammy doesn't talk as much. Tammy is not saying as much. Tammy's not doing what she used to do because I don't know if you're going to show it truthfully. And so now I've got to protect myself. So that's really what people start seeing. But back to what you were saying, that reunion was like, I've had enough. You've talked about my eggs, which is a lie. Shaunie is backing up your lies, so I can't fuck with her or you. And then you're sending letters to the production and the production company behind the scenes, spreading lies about me, and they're engaging in conversation with you, which was mind blowing to me, Carlos. Because I feel like if somebody sent you a letter talking about Mimi, you're not gonna sit and go, "You right, that bitch be tripping," like on an email.
Never. And let me be clear, some ladies have tried. And the reason why I have a great rapport with all my girls is because I don't engage in the behind the scenes talk about my cast.
But this executive, high level executive, did. And I have to this very day the emails. You know what I'm saying, of this conversation. And the girl admitted, yes, I sent letters, and the audience just overlooked that. So you're admitting that you've been shitting on me and trying to do all kind of shit behind the scenes. Nobody cared. They put it like I talked about her eggs before she talked about my eggs. and quite honestly, I'm only having this conversation with you because I know this is what the context of your show is about, and it provides a piece of closure for me because I will never, ever answer any more questions about Basketball Wives. That part of my life is closed. So I'm giving it all to you, and then I'm getting on down the highway. So she was doing a lot to me that people just didn't know that I was dealing with. And so that's why the very last season that I was on the show, I opted not to get a raise, not to extend any options, and not to film with her.
Wow. Because at the end of the day, you chose your peace over profits.
Correct. And I said, no, I don't want it. I'm going to leave and go on about my business because I know I can do other things.
Okay, so that pretty much makes a lot of sense. She pretty much on that 8th season. Hold on, y'all. On that 8th season, that last season, with Cece and all them, she did kind of take a back seat. You didn't really see Tammy around too much. Like Tammy really didn't film with the girls like that. Like, you know, she filmed with mainly with OG, Jackie, you know, Malaysia. She didn't really film with the likes of she didn't film with Evelyn at all. She did not film with Jennifer. She didn't film with she only filmed with Phoebe maybe once or twice. Like she didn't really film with those girls like that, so she wasn't really around like that. And it goes because she wanted to leave the show. She didn't want to have no raise because you know she knows that they wanted to keep her and all that other stuff. But I'm just still puzzled at the fact that it took her so long to realize what it really was, and she did so much to stay in these people good graces. But we're gonna continue on, y'all. Let's get through this, and I'm gonna give y'all my final word, child. Let's continue. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Okay, here we go.
The days are warming up and summer joy is on the
y'all.
rise.
Hold on,
It's
y'all.
your time
Hold
to
on,
shine.
hold on, honey.
Podcast, and we have some major.
Wow.
And I've said this on my podcast recently that that show needs Tammy and Evelyn. And you know, listen, I love Jennifer. Jennifer's a friend of mine. We all know that Jennifer isn't a lead.
Right.
Jen knows she's not a lead. She wants to be able to come in her cute fashion, do a little 1-2, and keep it moving. That show is bad. It's awful. In the words of Nene Leakes, you never win when you play dirty.
You never win when you play dirty. They may be able to get Evelyn back, you know, onto the show.
But it's gonna be. It needs more than her.
I know.
Shaunie got married. Were you invited to the wedding?
I was not. I was not invited to the wedding. And I don't know why I would have been. You know what I'm saying? Like Shaunie and I have not spoken to each other since I left the show. And I had saw on the blog where her father had passed away. And I did reach out to her and say, hey, I'm sorry for your loss. You know, because I had met her father and, you know, I know they had a wonderful relationship and dynamic. So I know that probably hurt, you know, to lose him. And I reached out to her and said, you know, sorry for your loss. And she reached back out and said, hey, thank you for that. And then if I've done anything to ever hurt you over the years, like I'm really sorry about it. And, you know, I thank you with the thumbs up. And then we've gone back to our separate corners and our separate lives like we were before I extended that condolences. Yeah.
So that's there's closure.
Yeah.
The beauty of you is that show did not make you, and it certainly did not break you.
Okay, I think that's really it. That's all she really had to say about the Basketball Wives. So let me go ahead and shut this Bluetooth speaker down, and then I can give y'all my final thoughts. I just did this, so let me lift my mic up. Okay, so here are my final thoughts on this. First of all, Tammy, thank you for the tea. Secondly, thank you, Carlos, for even facilitating this interview because there was a lot of things that was revealed that were good chunks of tea. I will be honest with you. This was a pretty decent interview. Like I did not want it to end. However, it's hard for me to feel sorry for Tammy. It is. I gotta be honest. It's hard for me to feel bad for Tammy because you gotta keep it all the way a buck here. When she got to be set in the cool kids clique, and when I say the cool kids clique, that's Shaunie, that's Jennifer, that's Evelyn. When she got in good with those girls, she started to show her ass. Most definitely started to show her ass. Once she got in good with them, she was showing her natural black ass. And they were using her as a bodyguard and a security guard, and she just didn't see it. She was just so happy to be a part that she didn't realize that her ass was being used. Cause that's what was going on. Tammy was being fucking used, and her ass just couldn't see that she was being fucking used. Cause that's exactly what was going on. She was being used. Once she made up with Evelyn, she was in the circle. This was season 3. They made up with the t-shirt thing and all that. She really started showing out with the Mika thing, mushing her, doing all that crazy shit. And it was like, okay, season 4 is really when she really started showing her ass. You're bullying Kesha. You're doing too much with Kenya. You're throwing away your relationship with Royce thinking that Evelyn and Shaunie are your friends. And they're not. You bullied Kesha in Tahiti after Shaunie showed you behind the scenes footage, basically gassing you up to go to Tahiti and call Kesha out. And when you did what she wanted you to do, then she threw you under the bus and made it seem like she ain't got nothing to do with it. Oh, my friends are aggressive. My friends are a bad look for me. I don't want to be around them. It's not good for my image. It's not good for my wholesome image. It's not good for this. It's not good for that. And she betrayed you by doing that. And you still had a residence up her ass. But you want me to feel bad for you in this particular situation. I cannot, because you continue to lay and be up her ass. Because you knew what was going on. You knew she was using you. You knew they were using you as a scapegoat, but you had to get along to get along. Go along to get along. I'm sorry. Go along to get along because you wanted your check. But you could have got your check without doing it. And now you're labeled as a fucking bully and you cannot get away from that. And despite whatever struggles you've gone through in your life in the past few years, some people really could give a damn because of your behavior. Why you did it for Shaunie, the same person who didn't care about you. So then when season 5 came, that dry ass season that y'all came after y'all got rid of Jennifer and Royce, y'all brought in Tasha Marberry. And they was throwing you under the bus again. Making it all about the way, making it seem like you was the only one that behaved bad and you was the only one that was acting a fool back in the day. I wish I would have known what I was going to say, because I would have gotten those clips too. You had told Tammy, you need to take responsibility for acting a damn fool back then. Like her best friend Evelyn wasn't sitting next to her, throwing plates, throwing drinks, always trying to fight somebody, hitting people upside the head with clutch purses. Like, that's the shit that I be talking about, and I can't fuck with it. They are some evil ass people. I'm telling you, they're evil as fuck. Okay, straight up. And they made Tammy take the fall for that too. So then, after it, I saw Tammy do a live video one time saying that Shaunie and Evelyn gonna stick together because it's always about them. They gonna stick together. They gonna stick together. They not gonna go against each other. She said that on a video when she was reviewing the show. And then they didn't have no reunion because of the whole Tammy and Evelyn beef. That's what people fail to realize. That's why they didn't have no damn reunion. Then Shaunie brings her ass over to Basketball Wives LA thinking she can save a show, but then brought Tammy on, had her doing her bid, and then Tammy had no reason not to like Brandy nor Malaysia, but she did. Why? Because Shaunie didn't like her. Then you go into the 5th season, and there you go, beefing with Brandy's friend Duffy. Why? Shaunie didn't want her on the show. Then we go into season 6, and that's when I was really annoyed with Tammy, because all of a sudden you don't want to film with Brandy. All of a sudden you don't want to be around Brandy. What was really the issue between you and Brandy to the point to where you didn't want to be around her? Oh, because Shaunie didn't want her around. So now you and Evelyn have both decided that we're not going to film with Brandy to keep her from getting on the show. Because there was an article put out there that Evelyn would not do the show if Brandy in Malaysia was not there. And you were right there. Now, you were saying Malaysia was your friend, but you sat right there with Shaunie trying to ostracize the girl, which is why I don't feel sorry for her right now. And you decided to do that. That shit crazy to me. Then during season 7, you and Evelyn back into it again, and then at that reunion, it took for Shaunie to act like she didn't know what the hell Evelyn was talking about, for you to sit up here and not be, for you to realize that Shaunie really didn't have your back. Shaunie never had your back, Tammy, and then you would sit up there crying at Jackie. Ever since I've known them girls, they've been talking about me, and all I tried to be was their fucking friend. We know that's all you tried to be, and they were never your friend, Tammy. But you want me to feel bad for you, though. I don't. That's why like, people tend to ignore the shit that Tammy did after she got to be cool with Evelyn and Shaunie and Jennifer and all of them. The way she treated people, the way that she acted, as much of a bully she became when she got cool with them and got in their good graces. But you see, they threw her to the wolves soon after she was no longer in their good graces. And that's why I cannot feel bad for Tammy. I refuse to feel bad for Tammy because she put herself in that situation. And that's point blank, period. So I don't give a fuck how nobody feels. I don't feel sorry for Tammy. However, I'm glad that she exposed that shit, because it goes in Evelyn and Shaunie's favor every fucking time. That's why all the people that they don't like are gone. Royce was not even Royce. Gloria was the first one that they chose to bully and pick on and run off the show. Gloria. Royce, okay? Who else was after them? You had Mika, you had Kesha, you had Brandy in Malaysia, you had it's so many people. OG and Cece. You had them. Like, you had so many damn people that y'all, if y'all didn't like them, they was off the show. Which is what ruined Basketball Wives for me. Because it's like every season they bring somebody on, and if Shaunie and Evelyn don't like them, they leave. That's some bullshit. Real Housewives would never. And that's why Basketball Wives is in the predicament that it's in now. Gone are the days where I used to enjoy reviewing this show. It's nothing like that now. And I have Shaunie to blame for that. She ruined the show. And that's really all I got to say about that. I wasn't expecting this video to be this long. It's almost an hour long, but I felt like we really had to get into the tea. And I really wish that that Carlos would have asked her more questions about Royce and her being on the show. I wish that he would have asked Tammy more questions about OG and all of that stuff. Like, I wanted to know more about that too, because people seem to think that when it comes down to OG, people seem to, and I have to clarify this because I see it a lot. People love to say that we want to make it seem like OG was the victim, and that's not something that we are doing, because OG is no one's victim. Let's be clear. But the facts are the facts. They treated that girl differently than they did the rest of them. That is the reason why I go so hard for OG. The same way I went hard for Brandy, the same way I went hard for Royce, even Gloria back then. It ain't got nothing to do with trying to make her a victim, because she was not one. She was just as flawed as everybody else. But what I need for everybody to realize is that no matter if she started the beefs that she was in or not, they accused her of being aggressive, as if she was the only one that was aggressive. They accused her of being violent, but she never put her hands on nobody. Tammy did. Evelyn did. She never threw objects at people. Evelyn did. That's my issue. They treated, Malaysia got physical. She threw shit at people. Like, all of them did that, but OG never did that. But she got the term aggressive. That's my problem. So I'm sick of people saying she wasn't a victim. Never said she was. The facts are the facts. They treated that girl differently because of the way she looked. I don't care what nobody say. They treated her differently because they felt that she was ugly. The same way they treated Royce a certain type of way because of the way she dressed, the way she wore her hair, all of that other stuff. Because they are kids. That's what they do. So the next time I hear someone tell me OG was not a victim, OG, it's not about her being a victim. It's the way she was treated differently than the rest of the women. That's just the facts. When when we all can agree to that, then we can stop having this conversation, honestly. But with that being said, y'all, this be your boy Scotty. Be sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Also, be sure to click that notification bell so you can be notified whenever a video drops. Also, if you want to follow me on any form of social media, my Twitter, IG, and my TikTok will be down in the description box down below. Okay, so that's it for you guys. I'm out of here. I will leave you guys with a promo from Nova Cosmetics. Scotty is out of here, y'all. Until next time, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace out.